Hey guys, how y'all doing? I'm here to give you guys a recap on the new episode of Fate Apocrypha, which is on episode 8. This episode was a battle action oriented episode. Of course, it was meant to be because if you guys been keeping up with the Fate Apocrypha series, will understand that all this was built up to be on the battlefield. So, if anything else, let's go. We have to it that one of our characters, which is Darnik, I believe, ends up making a narration about Chrono Lancer, which is Vlad III. We get to know that in his history back then, in 1462, in that year, he had an army of 10,000 men against 150,000 Ottoman troops. But aside from being outnumbered, his power, etc., is what terrifies the enemy. And we get to see a little like foreshadowing of his ability, and he ends up using that ability on the undead soldiers. As for the Red faction, Red Archer and Red Rider ends up entering the battlefield, causing some major damage and conflict on the side of Black of the faction. But we also see to it that eventually Red Archer and Red Lancer clashes against Black Lancer, which is Chrono Lancer, which is Vlad III. But apparently, like, he wasn't that easy to beat, and of course Red Lancer looked like he was about to get killed, but he ends up activating his power that looks like a freaking sun-like shield or something, and ends up clashing against Black of Lancer once more. And eventually, we get to see that Red of Rider ends up meeting Black of Rider, which is Kiron, of course, and we get to know a backstory that these two actually know each other. It's like the master and student, pretty much. And we get to know about Rider of Red was actually a very powerful being, even rivals that of the gods in his time and age, but an era. But we get to know that his heel is what's left mortal, was left vulnerable in other cases, because his father stopped him from being a completely full-on god, because he wants to retain that human side of him, which apparently became, I'm pretty sure became the downfall. Those of you guys who know the Achilles story in the Greek mythology will understand what he is and what he was capable of. After Chrono Rider talks to Akano Rider, they end up exchanging a couple words, or Chrono Rider exchanges some words to Akano Rider by telling him, you can't have this mercy and compassion right now, otherwise you'll be dead on the battlefield. You as a hero understand that, right? And they end up getting ready to clash against each other once more. As for Sieg himself, apparently he ends up saving a homunculus that was in the way of Rider of Red's passage when he was riding his chariot. And of course, I see Sig wanting to save the other homunculi or homunculuses, but apparently I just see it as a foolish mission of his right now. But since he doesn't have a long time to live, and if that's what he really wants, I can't really complain or even stop him right there, even though I think it's really stupid. But aside from that, we have to it that Kotomi Nishiro decides to enter the battlefield, but not before he has a little small talk with like the woman that's always been at his side, the servant, of course, with the Babylonian gate or something, Babylonian tower or castle. But after much talking with them and realizing what his goal and dream is to have a wish from the Greater Grail to love and heal all humans, he has to it that like he's not gonna falter if he does this. Of course, like she realizes that he's never gonna move forward unless he does this, so she allows him to go. But aside from that, Red of Saber or Akano Saber ends up showing on the battlefield late on time with the car with her master, which is really, really hilarious in a certain sense. And we get to see Chrono Berserker or Black Berserker going into action, and we get a narration from the Black Berserker's master that her power is what lies in the Type 2 perpetual motion engine that was created inside her by Dr. Frankenstein. We get to know that when she absorbs magical energy in the environment, she can continue fighting without any rest and until the enemy is defeated, which is pretty scary in a certain sense. It's like you're fighting a freaking like servant or some kind of robot or something that's has infinite amount of energy and is not even like how am I supposed to say it, being phased or even taking any like exhaustion, etc. Pretty much it's like an endless endless fight in a certain way against this witch or berserker. And as for ruler, which is Jeanne d'Arc, of course, she ends up trying to interfere with a couple things that might be happening on the battlefield, but apparently gets blocked off by a bunch of undead skeletons. As for Rider of Black or Black of Rider, Astolfo or something, he ends up trying to maybe invade the fortress that's in midair, of course, but apparently gets distracted by the servants that the woman who's in charge of the castle sent after him. As for Sig, he ends up hearing Astolfo's voice, etc., but the homunculus that he saved and decided to work with him did not hear anything. As for Colonel Castor, etc., he releases Spartacus in a certain sense and allows him to rampage in a certain way. So I'm thinking in my mind, great, this guy is really starting and gonna cause some trouble. But he has no choice because he cannot exist without him, and as long as he remains in this world, he has to like slay all those who greedily want the Holy Grail, etc., and those who hold power, etc., must be destroyed. Aside from major mischief of Colonel Castor's disciple, which he considers him, he ends up thinking ironically how he's helping an original human Adam or something, yada yada yada, even though he hates humans, etc. So I'm thinking in my mind, so you're just helping him because you want to? I don't know. And we also see to it that Colonel Berserker, or you could call her Frankenstein, ends up meeting Kotomine Shiro, and Kotomine Shiro offers her to join his side after much of what's been going on, as he knows her very quite well. So I'm thinking in my mind, yo, you offering a chance to let a berserker join you, etc., is a suicide note, because once a servant has a master, which apparently this should be, it should always be loyal to that master in a certain sense. But we don't know. But Kotomiya Shiro offering that hand to Berserker of Black or Frankenstein right now, you're gonna die, man. She ain't gonna listen to you, obviously. I hope that she declines this offer, but who knows what will happen. Aside from that, the episode was pretty cool, not too bad. Just a battle action-oriented episode with two sides going against each other and multiple servants against other servants, and of course, like one servant meeting Kotomine Shiro, etc. So overall, looking forward to the next episode. Until then, I'm off. I'm out for Zero, people. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time, right? Peace out. Bye-bye. Toodaloo!